Okay, so for our recollection, we are going to compare losing a language and the Museum of Obsolescence. And we're comparing language, people, and technology, as well as corruption.
So when we were talking about the loss of a language, we look to the Norton, where W.S. Merwin writes Losing a Language, and you see he says that many of the things the words were about no longer exist, meaning today our language has been lost, and that the children will not repeat the phrases their parents speak. So language is lost, but unused people/objects, like in Museum of Obsolescence, you have this old man, and when he dies, he'll just be replaced. They'll replace him.
Once Sid and I started talking about lost languages and unused objects and items, we were wondering if unused is the same as lost, or are they different? And so then we began to think of things that are obsolete versus things that have been lost. And we agreed that lost seems like it's going to be unused forever, like it's forever gone in a way. But obsolete seems more like someone will use it every once in a while, or maybe they don't use it, but it's still in the house. Mm-hmm. And lost means it's nowhere to be found.
So we also ask within the question, is unused the same as lost, if language can become obsolete or lost? And W.S. Merwin, in his response to our email the other month in class, he says, nowadays it's the English language that is being lost, as it's not used properly. And so he says the English language is being lost, or is it just being obsolete? Because as we read today in Shakespeare, you read languages that haven't been used for years, but does that mean it's lost for good because we're reading it from old text, or is it just not used as much as we thought?
And even then, language, we're thinking that it never really gets lost. It just adapts and changes because we're thinking about the word literally and how the classic definition is meaning real or literal, but now everyone, even in Parks and Recreation, whatever, Chris Traeger, what's that? No, is that his name? Chris? I can't remember. Rob Lowe, the character Rob Lowe plays, he uses literally just to express a strong feeling or exaggerate something.
Yeah. And same with text slang. Whenever I text, if you're angry, I'm literally so angry, but what does literally mean in those examples? And so.
And also with text, it's I guess letters are becoming lost in a way.
Mm-hmm.
How when you text the word text, you take out the E.
Or BRB.
Yeah. But it's just getting condensed or changing, but I don't think it's becoming lost.
Yeah, and going on to whether it's lost or not, we have the question, what can't be lost, or what's not in the museum, as in what's not in the Museum of Obsolescence. And looking at what's happening outside of the museum, usually for experience, we know when you leave a museum, you have to buy a t-shirt, or you have to buy a little statue. You can't just leave with the memory. You have to be holding something physically in your hand for that memento that you went to this place. You can't just remember that you went to a museum and saw cool things.
And I think that's leads into the corruption part, how in the Museum of Obsolescence, one of the last lines is outside vendors hawk t-shirts 3 for $8. So they're making a profit off of a museum. I don't know.
Yeah, and museums should probably make profit off, just people coming in to learn about what they hold, and people just want profit for stuff that they won't even use, which could be back to the question, will it be lost or unused? So also with corruption brings technology, in our two poems, you have in Losing a Language the line day is glass, and we interpreted that as looking at a screen the entire day, a TV screen, doing nothing with your life. And then in Museum of Obsolescence, you have the line with the video looping on ad infinitum. And so not only are we corrupted with this technology, but we get so consumed with it, and we just begin to neglect our family and friends.
And also, like with technology, it's so fast paced that now if you ask, I don't know, like a 40, 50-year-old man to set up an iPad app or something, download something from the App Store, and just doing something new with their computer, like he can get it done, but he'll probably use like Google or maybe like even open up that instruction manual. I don't know. But then if you ask like a 10-year-old boy to set up, I don't know, an iPad app or like almost, I bet he could even make his own iPad app nowadays.
Yeah.
He could do it almost instantly and like innately as if just because he's like grown up with this environment.
Yeah, and even today, if you go to the Mac store or Apple store somewhere, everyone who's working behind that Genius Bar is probably under the age of 30 or something. They're young. They know exactly what they're talking about, and who knows if people older the age even know how to use those things. Like, even I don't even know how to use some things. It just shows how fast-paced technology is today.
So like what's not in the museum would be some things of technology, but other things such as can become obsolete, like radio cassettes, VCRs, maybe some first generation iPods that will one day be turned into a belt buckle. But Sid and I realized that, or thought, will the internet ever become obsolete?
We asked this question because, I mean, as long as we've lived, the internet has just gotten more and more complex. And we first started up with like a dial-up, and now you can watch a live stream on your computer before anyone else has seen it, and you can see anything on the internet. And that just shows like technology is everywhere, and it consumes our life. And like even to this exact project, you asked us to email all of our documents to you, and even Emily and I changed this email to an MP3.
Yeah. Seems like the world's forever changing, and things come and go, and when will we be the man that's sitting in the Museum of Obsolescence? But I guess the question we want to leave is, will the internet ever become obsolete?